All right, good morning. How is everybody today? Good? All caffeinated, woke up, good to go. So I'll be talking about voice services and applications today. There's some simple profit models, but there's also reality in play. If anybody here has actually tried to start a VoIP business in 2017, you know it can be quite a challenge. It's a saturated market in many areas, and the profit returns are not super fantastic. So, how to profit in VoIP? It's not how to have fun, because we need to make money. This is where we come to have fun. It's the Astrakhan. So a bit about me. I started playing with Asterisk back in 2004. This is when it was being first released publicly. It was really awesome because you could connect a PC to the PSTN and make some phone calls, and that was really cool because it opened up a world to programmers to make all sorts of wonderful things. You couldn't do that with a Nortel or really old solid systems that took up entire rooms. A DMS 100 for a hospital with all the kit took up 400 square feet. Along comes Asterisk. You replaced it with 1 square foot of space. It was fantastic. So I rolled out an international long distance network and a small VoIP company with inside a major corporation with Asterisk. It was fun in the technical challenge sense. There was some issues because it was Asterisk when it was 1.2. Now 1.2 was pretty awesome, but any interesting things in dial plan led to memory leaks, and it's time to reboot that box almost daily. And then I experienced the joys and pains of doing installations for the hospitality industry. Holiday Inn, places like that. There's a lot of fun there too, but not really. So that was with audio codes, gateways, AdTrans. You put those on site, you backhaul it with a T1 or some nominal reliable connection back to your data center with Asterisk, and you do a line-based game. That sort of business, not so awesome. So after being tortured for years doing that sort of stuff, I decided, hey, it's time to start making stuff that's less customer intensive, make applications that are more sane for me so I can actually have a vacation and not be on a phone at 2 a.m. with somebody. I've spoke at Astrakhan several times. It's been on security usually. I've always had a great time speaking on security and doing live little hack videos of free PBX, which have always been hilarious to see people dash for the laptop at the same time. Awesome technology. And one of my best accomplishments is through my development, I built a cloud PBX that now services over 100,000 businesses and is supported by a tech desk of 2 people. So it's really efficient. Some pictures of that if you guys were interested. This is what it looked like in 2002. This is what it looks like in 2015. And there's newer stuff now. But it's all drag and drop simple. The way to profit is to get the customers to do stuff themselves. So the voice and application market of 2017. Integrators, resellers, and application providers have changed dramatically over the last 10 years. Traditional PBX, it's dead, it's going out, it's gone. Who's still selling premise PBXs now? Oh, you guys are awesome. Our business isn't gonna last forever. Like maybe if there's places with no internet now, but Tesla's launching 8,000 satellites this year. You can get gigabit from space. I could even have a cloud PBX up in the North Pole at this point. So, that market is going away. It's still there, it's not completely dead. There's still people that have business requirements for on-site PBXs, but more and more stuff is actually going into the cloud. And there are PCI compliant cloud platforms, which is all about, people take visas over the phone. And that's usually been one of the biggest, we'll keep the PBX in the house reasons. So when making a new business plan in 2017, You have to account for a lot of things that you didn't have to account for before when it was a big Wild West market. And this is not just typical for small guys. Big guys too apply to this. So, major corporations such as Nortel. Anybody remember Nortel? This was a great company. You could make mad money off license keys and installation and even changing phones. It was like this whole term, mock, move, add, change, right? So in 2002, they were riddled by scandals. 2004, release of Asterisk, and then more open source stuff like Asterisk at Home, which was based on Asterisk. And it started a death spiral for Nortel. They were already in trouble. This just escalated them to death. 2009, full bankruptcy. So what we learned from Nortel, all gravy trains come to an end. Scandals are bad for business. Asterisk is awesome. Integrators and the respective businesses that did not see this coming really got hurt bad. There is a huge segment of installers out there that their bread and butter was the copper line business. They'd go in, they'd do the punch downs, they'd wire a hotel with 800 lines of copper. Like, it was a profitable business for them, and they sold keys on top of that and phone systems, and it was real gravy. But that disappeared really fast because people with physical skills were easily replaced by people with software skills very fast. So Toshiba, nobody saw this one coming, or maybe a few did. They closed their telecom division this year, right? Big company. So what we learned from this, major corporations don't really like making PBXs anymore because they see it's going bye-bye. The physical box business, gone. Now, I'm not talking about the little company building a little box out of a Socrates PC or a PC 104 board that costs maybe $100. Those are commodity things, really. You're not going to run your business on those. Might be good for a small home office, but for actual enterprise stuff, that stuff's going. Techniques for planned obsolescence, you know, just like your car rots out every 5 years if you live in a country that has salt. It's not working no more. Big builders see this and they say, forget it, we gotta go to the cloud. So, key models still prevalent today. Fixed line, the all you can eat. You know, you see those wonderful companies, unlimited long distance, all you can call, $19 a month. Still a big thing out there. By the minute, termination and did resale. Plivio's in on this, Twilio's in on this. Let's see who here is. Telinx is in on this. A lot of people at the trade show booths have this stuff. Application providers, Twilio, Plivio hosted things like eFax, PBX's We APIs. These are the real money makers. Anything that can take away from you scaling a business as a customer service desk to a reseller and a customer do-it-yourself thing, that's how you make money without being taxed internally on labor. So, fixed line business, Bell, Rogers, Primus, all the big, you know, five devils, and then some of the small people that buy and sell on a line ratio. So, you can sell a PBX with this. Most people sell a free PBX box or something like that. These are usually smaller resellers, right? They want to make themselves a living. They go buy a switch box or a free PBX box from Sangoma. They go do a customer install. And then so they have some reoccurring spliff. They sell them some phone lines, right? Makes sense, common model. The game of selling phone lines and making profit was always done as a ratio. Residential phone lines could be sold at a rate of 1 to 55. That's bananas, right? But that's really good profit. Business stuff used to be 1 to 10. This has changed though, I'll tell you why. So from this model, you can see if you've got no costs and you're running the whole business yourself, you can make $168,000 at the end of 12 months. It seems all right, right? Quick facts. For every 100 to 150 companies you roll out with a PBX that you have to manage, you'll need one support technician. This is not fluff, this is a real thing. I have many resellers that deem that they want the cash for rolling out a PBX, but this is the end result. They end up with additional support staff as they scale. So their support staff is scaling with their business, right? It sounds logical, it sounds good, but it actually eats your profit like mad. especially if you want good quality people. You can't get a good quality support technician for $7.25 an hour. You actually have to pay them money, right? You'd want money if you were to deal with customers all day and fix PBXs. Customers do not automatically come to you. You have to pay a sales guy, some Google ads, some wizard at social media, but there's a cost to get these customers. Unless you're like the absolute god of sales and you look like a 10 out of 10 and you can just get 30 customers a month yourself, that's going to be a reality. Line ratios can vary wildly based on customers. Some customers never even use the phone. Other customers, like a call center, forget it. They're like a 2-to-1. They need double the lines. And to make things very clear, hot dog vendors, they make 50 to 100K or more a year. If you find a good spot and you want to sell hot dogs, you can make 100K real clear. And there ain't no tax man gonna chase you. Well, maybe the guy in California that got busted. So what reality should look a little bit more like, you got your data center costs, you attribute something for customer service, right? This could be 2 people. This could be split between a sales and a customer service guy. You need an install guy to go roll out and do those PBXs for you. And you need some churn, because all your customers are not going to stay with you. Now, it's not because you're a bad guy, but reality is most of the small businesses you service may go out of business. All right? Some people will leave you for other providers. This is normal in the industry. But there is a good percentage that actually just up and fail after a year or 2, especially if they're just getting started. So who would like to make minus $3,000 after 12 months? Nobody, right? Hot dogs are looking pretty good right about now, right? So let's add some more realistic scaling. Let's put in, extra tech guy when we get more customers. Because who likes a bus factor of 1? Has anybody heard this? Okay, bus factor 1, you got 1 technician. He gets hit by a bus, he gets cold, he gets sick. You don't have a backup guy. You're screwed. Got to have 2 technicians. We'll assume that you're living precariously and up to the point of 1 year you've only got 1 technician. But you really do need 2 at a minimum. So 1 guy can take a vacation, he doesn't burn out. Maybe he's suffering from millennialism. You need to address these things. So to be more realistic, you won't actually see money until month 17, which is not a very tasty prospect, right? But if you go into this full-heartedly and you know that you're going to outlay cash and you're going to go straight to the wall and push this hard, you're going to start seeing profit, and it does make sense. But up to 2 years, you could bleed to death. So a lot of people, they're small. They don't have the cash to do this. So while they try and build it up, they incur all these issues and customer service problems, all while making no profits. Again, nobody likes to make no profits. By the minute strategies. These are fantastic. My favorite thing is selling by the minute and DIDs. Whether it be packaged with a service or by itself, it's a business that can scale linearly, and you never have to worry about the customer post-pay issue. Does anybody have post-pay customers? No? See, you all wised up. Having post-paid customers for the line type business is an absolute nightmare. You can actually lose 30% of your income because customers pay staggered or they don't pay at all. Before they switch providers, they leave you with a trailing 3-month bill and they up and gone, which is never fair for anybody, but that's just the way life is. So higher volumes with carriers in the by-the-minute business let you get really good rates, okay? Like what does Twilio sell voice service for? 2 cents for a message or something silly? The actual cost on that is like 1/10 of a cent or less, right? So they're making fat margin. It doesn't sound like a lot, but millions of calls, good lolly, right? That's why you can get an IPO and move on. So the basic model, say you sell 100 DIDs a month, you make $250 on those, you sell some minutes. The average minutes per phone number is 550. This is a very real number. Looking at all the resellers I've helped and all the statistical data, 550 minutes for businesses and small businesses is a very real outgoing number. It doesn't sound like a lot, but it's pretty high, considering everybody chats on Skype, Hangouts, what's that new one people like with the hashtag thing? Slack, yeah, etc. Talking on the phone is kind of like antiquated now, but still businesses use it. So you can see selling by the minute. You can lose money in the first month because you actually have to pay some ad costs to get some customers. But it can grow quite nicely. This is assuming, of course, that somebody gave you some hardware and some, technical aid for free. Maybe your mother bought you a server. So bad assumptions, your churn will be low. In the by-the-minute business, if you're selling as a wholesaler, it is a very fickle game. I would jump provider to provider with least cost routing, right? So whoever had the best rate that day and actually had decent quality gets my traffic. So it's not a loyal game. It's not like where you build a loyalship, oh, you're my best friend. No, people want to make coin, right? You sell it to them for 0.3 of a cent, you buy it for 0.1 of a cent, they sell it for a whole penny. There has to be some linear sale there where you make money. Thinking you can get away with minimal website and billing software, this is the biggest disaster people do. They put together some site that looks like it's from 1990 with HTML forms that are all nasty and ugly. And then they implement some open source billing software, which has no control over their call flows. So what happens in a lot of scenarios is they get hacked. You have a customer with $1 left on their account, and then all of a sudden you see 30 calls to Cuba going through simultaneously, and a minus $300 balance suddenly appears on that account with no way to stop it from the billing software. So that is something you really have to pay attention to and take care of. That's like number one. Before you even start passing traffic, make sure you can stop traffic, analyze traffic, and deal with any issues to do with monetary loss. It's not a big issue if you address it ahead of time. It's a real big issue if you address it after the fact, because you can lose your shirt. Like I've seen people try and do this business using A2 billing and free PBX and end up with $300,000 phone bills with a carrier because of some weird little quirky nastiness. So, and never assume the carrier is your friend. These guys will screw you on billing all the time. If you see billing by the minute, send a test call. Place several test calls. Have a scheduled system that makes test calls. Make sure they're actually charging you from the time of connect, not the time of ring. There's a lot of people that actually charge you from the time of ring. That's really sad, but it's a reality. And make sure the rates don't change on you randomly and change back. I found with one carrier over just 3 months, $26,000 in missed billing. $26,000. Does that sound like something somebody wants to pay out their own pocket? No? Oh, the customers won't pay you. You got to deal with that issue. So, again, did I mention hot dog vendors make 50 to 100K a year? It's looking good to sell hot dogs, isn't it? So applications, everything from SMS, voice messaging, all the way up to fully blown API PBXs. This is the core of the new generation of selling things. Now you have people that know nothing about telecom, they're just developers. They're like little geeks in the mom's basement, or they're actually people that want to make professional mobile apps. Companies like Twilio and anybody with an API that's well documented is doing well in this space because it's easy to get more people started. They don't need to know how to build a PBX. They don't need to know how to do billing. That stuff's already done for them. Here's an API, go build something, make a profit on it. It's attractive, right? So, making a reseller model to that is real gravy. So, here's where you stop thinking about selling hot dogs. I'm going to take a dialer, for instance. It's a very simple concept. Everybody understands a dialer. Dials people, makes a message, could be used for an emergency. Hello, the hurricane's coming, go duck. Or a more viable one that everybody probably can sell to is collection companies. Collection companies for all these postpaid VoIP companies, they need to get that money that they lost. So having one guy do 80 calls a day is cost prohibitive. Nobody wants to have an outbound call center with desk agents doing the calls. They have predictive dialers and all these other wonderful things. But the best way to flip something like that is a mass dialer. It's going to dial your 10,000 customers a day, play the message, hey John, you owe me $500, please call, top up, whatever. If they are just doing 200,000 minutes a month in calls, which is really low, 200,000 minutes, that's a very small number. You can make $4,000 on one customer at 2 cents markup. That's pretty good, right? On one customer, $4,000. You've got colo costs and you've got a sales guy that hard sells that, so that's all right. But after 24 months, you can make nearly 750 grand, right? Again, we're assuming your mom gave you a server or you've got a bunch of DigitalOcean's cloud swarm thingies going on that are like $5, so the cost is almost negligible. But if you have an application in this sort of magnitude, it's very good money and very little grief. So let's get rid of the sales guy. Let's put resellers in. Resellers want to make money too, so we give them half the profit. Who wouldn't want to be a reseller for half the profit, right? Hi, I'm going to give you half my loot. Sure, sign me up. Not this 10%, 20% crap, 50%. So if we have 10 resellers that can just sell one customer a month, that's not being unrealistic, right? If you've got a reseller that can't sell one customer a month, they're a really crappy reseller. You can have 240 customers in 2 years and a bottom line to date of $38 million. This sounds really good now, doesn't it? Nobody's looking at that hot dog cart business anymore, are they? No. You can't do this in a service-based business selling PBXs. Selling PBXs, you'll have the bottom cost of employees that just goes like this, which is not awesome. So, you want to make software easy. It has to be consumable by the end customer easily. It can't be complex. It can't be overly difficult to explain. If you cannot explain software in one sentence to somebody, chances are the thing you're building or selling is too complex. Volume of sales is relative to ease of use. A lot of people want to make the Cadillac. They want to make every single feature for the customer. It's honorable, but you don't make loot in this. You do not get volume. And from a capitalistic approach, you want volume with markup for good profit. You do not want to get tied into making the kitchen sink. If you want to make the kitchen sink, open an ice cream shop. So, on to the next slide. Here's an example of a dialer. Who's seen Vici dial before? It's nice, right? It's feature rich. Showing this a customer though, like, makes their face implode. This is a more simple looking dialer, yeah? A drag and drop dialer. This would be more readily consumable by a customer. Drag some messages on, upload an Excel, away you go. Design applications like this. Make things easy. They don't have to be feature rich, they just have to make you rich. Have some fun things. I have a dialer that actually just takes a list, they put in a few things like messages and voice snippets, it says their name. I have a collection company using this. They make over an extra 500 grand a month just running this. They don't even run big lists. It's like the best source ever for them. So to sell it, it's very easy. And they get this nice little slider where all the numbers start floating up. It's busy, it's not busy, explodes if it's a bad number. It's kind of fun, right? And they don't need all the extra features. They just need to contact customers, make sure they get their money, right? So thank you for attending. I will now take questions. No questions? Awesome. Yes?
On the profit model where you're reselling,
yep.
50%, what is what is your, where do you start from, like, your cost? What is that cost versus, like, what are you including in the cost?
Okay, so if you're looking at just a straight raw model, you can have a cost of 1/10 of a cent for most North American termination. So if you're doing an application like a dialer or a Twilio, you can easily sell a call for 2.1 cents, 2.9 cents. You can even make a little bit more. If there's a non-competitive market or region you're targeting, you can vary your pricing. It's only when it gets really competitive that you have to wiggle that number a bit. But that's what I'm basing that on. Now there is CapEx, don't get me wrong. you're going to have to pay a software guy to make you some software. You're going to have to decide on what you're doing for servers. There's been a couple great presentations here on the use of DigitalOceans and $5 VPSs that you can spin up and spin down as you need them. That works really well for the most part. You do have to account for things like that node got overloaded, the voice quality got crap. So when I attribute a co-location cost of something like $340, that's for a real co-location in a carrier-neutral place. You throw a couple $2,000, off-lease IBMs or Dells. You build your own little cluster of things, and away you go. So that's where that number comes from.
You got your slides on the URL somewhere?
I will post them. Anybody that wants them, I can share the link, and I will give the link to Digim people. Well, everybody can have the link.
When you said about 550 minutes average per month is for a residential client?
For which?
For which kind of client is the 550 minutes per month?
Oh, that's for a business client.
Business?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys remember the slide way back up here. No, this is a by-the-minute business.
For business, right?
Yeah, so in this business here, this is a virtual PBX I wrote for a carrier. The statistical information that I have access to, this is a by-the-minute thing. They buy phone numbers and then they just pay the minute, which is super awesome because companies that used to pay several $100s a month for a phone bill now are paying like $30 or $20. So the average customer of this type of hosted system is 550 minutes a month per DID. So, per DID, yep. And that's such a low number these days, right? So, is there any more? Any further questions?
I have one.
Sure.
What about that model where you are selling the software and taking the maintenance charge, which is the maintenance cost is negligible?
In a are you selling PBXs on site?
No, actually, we are selling APIs.
APIs. Okay, API-driven businesses, they're really awesome, right? If you've built them right, your technical maintenance cost on that really becomes more of a data center, routing center question because you've got tight software at that point. You're selling an API-driven software that has very little maintenance. If it's blowing up on the background, you need to address something. Like going back, way back in the day, right? We had a lot of asterisk boxes. They were awesome for ease of use, ease of configuration, very easy to get into. Problem with those is the density was terrible. Who would like a data center with 100 asterisk boxes just sucking up power space? The co-location provider loves that, right? Because they rake the money in on you. But when you look at harmonizing asterisk as an application platform and then using more geared things like Camilo or OpenSer to be your registration server or RTP proxies, things like that, your density gets much better and the reliability just goes through the roof. So then your only problem becomes designing applications that don't lead to memory seg faults and have systems in place that automatically spawn and destroy processes that are zombie, right?
Many things depend upon the opportunity also, what the opportunity you are getting right now.
Yeah, opportunities are great. Sometimes you'll never get one, but sometimes you meet people at AstraCon and they give you the great opportunities. Right? This is also a good reason why people come here, to have fun and network and maybe do some business, maybe not. But still, have fun is the key thing. Is there any more questions? No? Awesome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.